Hey guys, welcome to Natural Aesthetics. Apologies for the lighting, I know it's a little bit dark. I'm actually using the flashlight from my iPhone to give me some light. It's kind of late here, so there's no outside light. But anyway, this evening I'd like to very briefly talk about one problem that I see on a daily basis in the gym that perhaps prevents people from reaching their goals a little bit sooner, achieving the physiques they want. It's definitely a hindrance, and it's form. And it's the opposite of what you think I'm going to talk about. Usually when we think of form, we think about how to make it better, to improve it. And form is important. It's important. Why? Because form is needed to make sure we're working the muscles that we actually want to work. So when I train my biceps, I want to build bigger biceps. Therefore, I have to perform the exercise in the correct manner to try and reach that goal of growing bigger biceps. If the form's poor, we may not be taxing the biceps as much as we could do. Secondly, it's important for safety and lowering the risk of injury, and therefore keeping the training consistency high and hopefully achieving some gains in the gym. What I'd like to talk about is actually the opposite of that, and that's being too meticulous with form, being too anal with your form and too worried about form breakdown. Being fascinated by keeping the form perfect on every exercise, every rep, every set will hinder you. It will hinder your progress and your results in the gym. Form is very important. Don't get me wrong on that. There's a big difference between good form and perfect form. Massive difference. You're going to use a lot less weight and do a lot less reps with perfect form than you are going to with good form. Now, as long as the form is good, then I don't think you have anything to worry about. I often see it in the gym where guys are too meticulous. They take too long to perfect the technique. They worry about that too much. They worry more about the form than about the intensity or the amount of weight they're using, and this is going to hinder progress, definitely. As a natural, at some point you have to be lifting kind of heavy weights, and when I say heavy, of course it's relative. My heavy weight might be different from your heavy weight, but at some point you've got to be struggling to get 6 to 10 reps or so at a weight. I often see guys cutting sets too short. They're doing 6-7 reps with a weight they could do 12 to 15 reps because they're too worried about form breakdown. They're keeping their eye on the form too much. At some point you have to understand that form is going to break down. Okay, it's required to keep the intensity of the set high, and that's one of the factors that's going to drive progress in the gym is intensity. I saw this the other day. A guy was deadlifting in the gym. He had about 120, 140 kilos on, and he set himself up. He was checking in the mirror to his side as he was deadlifting, as he was setting himself up, which is a good thing to do to make sure that your body's in the correct position, especially as a beginner. But then once you're lifting, you have to be focused on getting that weight up. Building muscle. You're in the gym to train, to build muscle, to get stronger. So you have to actually apply intensities to that set, and worrying too much about the form isn't going to allow you to do that. So he lifted up to his shins. He could have easily gotten the rep out, easily for multiple reps. But he stopped. He stopped at his knees. He realigned his position, checked the mirror again, and then performed half a rep again. And he performed another few inches off the floor again, and then unwrapped the weight. Because he was too worried about form, too scared of form breakdown, that it hindered his intensity in the gym on that day. And I see that on a regular basis. Same can be said of arm training or back training or any muscle. Guys perhaps pressing with such a slow rep cadence, the weight they're using is minimal in comparison to what they could be using with a slightly faster rep tempo. I could use 8 kilo dumbbells and keep the form perfect on a dumbbell chest press. I could do 6 seconds on the positive phase, 6 seconds on the negative phase, but is that going to build me bigger, stronger muscles? No. There's a sweet spot where as long as the form is good, it doesn't have to be perfect, and the weight is decent, then that's where you're going to grow. That's where you're going to see results. And worrying too much about perfecting the form can sometimes slow you down. I saw this again in the gym the other day. A guy was doing tricep extensions, some skull crushers. He was using a resistance band to keep his elbows in, which is a good idea because the elbows tend to flare out. And then he proceeded to slow the rep speed down almost to a 4-second negative and a fairly slow positive. So the weight he was using was minimal. He could have handled a lot more weight if he were to remove the resistance band and increase the rep speed slightly. You know, the resistance band, like I said, is a good idea, but it's going to massively limit the amount of weight you can use. If your elbows flare out an inch or so, your triceps are still under a huge amount of tension. As long as your form isn't terrible and your elbows are 2 foot apart, then your triceps are going to be working hard, and the same goes for the rep speed. I don't think ultra slow reps really has any benefit over doing a normal rep speed of perhaps a 1 second positive and a 2 second negative. Doesn't have any benefits over that, and the weight that you're going to be using on the normal rep speed is going to be considerably more weight than if you were to use perfect form with a very, very slow rep cadence. So it's just something to bear in mind, guys, that form, yes, is important. It's important for a number of reasons, but it's not the be all and end all. And sometimes worrying about it too much can hinder your progress, when sometimes you just got to get in the gym, you got to train hard. Back when I was younger and I first started training, you know, the first couple of years in the gym environment, I achieved some great results. It wasn't because my form was perfect. You know, it wasn't something I really thought about that much, to be honest. What I thought about in the gym was training hard. Every single set and every single session was done with intensity in mind, using as much weight as I can handle. And obviously, yeah, I got injured. Injuries happen as part of the game, and the sooner you accept that, I think the sooner you're probably going to start seeing results. No one wants to get injured. It's not something you know, we want at all, because it hinders progress. But you can't train intensely and effectively on a regular basis if you're consistently worried about getting injured or your form breaking down. You have to accept that it might happen, and of course at some point your form is going to break down, especially towards the end of the set when you start fatiguing. That's where you've got to grit your teeth and grind out some of those reps. And more often than not, that's what separates someone with a great physique to someone that has a mediocre physique. And remember, changing your form from perfect to good is going to increase the amount of work you're able to do per set massively. You're going to get a lot more reps with a lot more weight just by dropping that form off slightly from perfect to relatively good standard. And that's what drives, and that's one of the things again that's going to drive your progress in the gym, both in terms of muscular development and strength, is total volume. And perfect form will sometimes hinder that again. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, and if you learned something, then please give me a thumbs up, like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more. Check out all my social media in the links below for regular updates, pictures and whatnot. Thanks for watching, and stay strong.